Hi again, Aerial Flight Advisor here, and here's the last of the separate video tutorials I'm doing. This one will focus mostly on trading with a little bit of diplomacy. Now, as you see here, I'm starting out as the Roving Clans. I have a nice little empire going right now. And the reason I'm playing as the Roving Clans is they get the best trade route bonuses. Not actually anything they start out with though, they get it from their heroes, which gives them nice bonuses when they're placed inside a city as a governor, and from going through their personal quest, which is a bit trickier than the others, but if you can go through it, I would recommend it because it will give you some really nice boosts to your trade routes. Now, as you can see, this city has 5 trade routes, and I'm getting 469 dust and 90.3 science. If you click on that button, you'll see all the trade routes we have available right now, some between just my cities, mostly between the Broken Lords. You can also access that by going to the Empire view and clicking that. But before we look at that a bit more, what's going on with trade routes? How do you make them? Well, you'll need to start out with this tech down here in Tier 2, Imperial Highways, and the right-of-way improvement has to be built in the city you want to have the trade routes going to. And then you need to make sure whoever you want to trade with is peaceful, which this tech, the Diplomat's Manse, is going to help with there because it allows you to start a peace treaty. And then the next thing you'll need is to make sure they also have this tech and also have this building, otherwise nothing's going to happen. And you get other things later on which boost the trade routes, stuff like this one here, always in the bottom tree, is going to give you an extra trade route plus more dust, and there's one in Tier 5 which gives you an extra trade route plus more science. Now, if we go back to that screen we were at before, Broken Lords are my main trading partner, and I have a commercial agreement with them, and there's 4 incoming routes. That means that's trade routes that they're sending towards me. And each city has a limited number of trade routes that they can have, primary trade routes at least, like my capital could have up to 5. You'll see the secondary trade routes here. That means if the primary trade route happens to pass through another city on its way to its destination, that city will also generate some dust and science, and you can have an unlimited number of those. And you can sort by income. Modifiers, I don't think I've ever actually seen list anything, but common things that would adjust it are winter time, Roving Clans especially get a debuff for their trade routes during the winter, and things like certain heroes, certain techs like before, will affect it as well. Another major factor is the Empire plan, especially this left quadrant here. Specifically, that one, for Tier 3, 50% trade route bonus on city trade routes. However, everything else is important too, because if you're going gung-ho with trade routes, you're probably going for an economic victory, and everything in that quadrant is going to help you with that. Let's have a look at the Roving Clan hero a second. Here's the one that's stationed in my capital. And basically all these techs, particularly these 2, Safe Passage and a Fast Trader, will boost the trade routes. This one up here, Black Marketeer, is interesting because normally, like I said before, you have to be at peace or an alliance with whoever you want to trade with. But that one will allow you to trade even if they're at Cold War or at war with you. One other thing with trade routes is you have to know where the cities are. Like Broken Lords, who is red here, I can see all the cities of theirs. But I know where Orange is, but I can't trade with them. Why is that? Because as far as I know, there's no unbroken stretch of road. There's these 2 empty regions here, there's no cities there that would be producing any roads. And I don't see all of Dark Green's territory, the Ardent Mages, so I don't know if they're building roads too. Now, if I bought the Docks tech, which is in Tier 3, that one, Cargo Docks, then I would be allowed to do a trade route over the ocean. And those are important because, just like Civ, trade routes that are for farther away destinations will generally produce more dust and science. And oceans are good because they're generally going to go to a faraway location as the default. You don't get to choose where they go though. This game will choose that for you. The only way to really have any decision is you can declare war or Cold War on whoever you don't want to trade with and try to make sure only people you have far away are friendly and they're willing to trade. And another thing the Roving Clans get, which gives them a boost, is that they can ask for commercial agreements, and science agreements more easily, research agreement. Normally those cost influence like any other diplomatic action, but they can just get them for free. Let's talk about diplomacy a little bit while we're in this screen. Right now they're not too happy with me, but I don't really see much of their territory, so I kind of like a vision and map exchange. They are currently peaceful, which is what that icon means. You can hover over it and it'll tell you how long that's going to last. And they're not too cool with it, so let's see. I can give them a load of money. Let's see if they'll take something I don't need so much. I don't need the red saying so much. What you'll need to watch is this bar here. If it shows green at all, even if it's just on the center bar, that means they'll accept it. If it's red, that means they won't. If it's way green, you don't want that because that means the deal's incredibly in their favor. This mostly works for the AI, of course. It gives you an idea of what they're willing to accept. Generally, if you're trying to abuse the AI for trading stuff, you'll want it to just be there like that. So they send you a message, they're happy with that. I'm going to talk to them again though. If you want to win a diplomatic victory, you're going to have to do this a lot. Things that give you a lot of influence points which count towards a diplomatic victory are closed borders, which you can then open again the next turn, then close again the turn after that, and so forth to bring you to the victory. And you can do something similar with the market ban while you're playing as the Roving Clans. One more legit way is to search by text, because you get quite a bit of influence being spent for each tech. These are techs that I have, and these are techs that they have. I'd like to have them get Imperial Highways so I can trade with them. Let's see, I'd kind of like the tier 2 armor, and that tier 1 palladium stuff. Ooh, and the food buildings are good too. They're not so hot about that though, but I'm okay with them having all these techs, because I feel confident that I'm going to win by economic victory. Not going to really declare war much though, so let's get rid of that. Oh, it's a bit green there. Let's see what I can get rid of to make it more favorable for me. Oh, they definitely want that. Let's say Empire Mint, and then I'll give them something else in exchange. Like, how about emeralds? I don't really need emeralds. So they end up on the bottom here, and you can click on it and type in how many you want to give. And let's try 20. No, 25 should do the trick. Okay, so it's a sliver pass, but that's not so bad. So that was 1,000, over 1,000 influence points I spent on that trade, which is going to make a massive dent on this diplomacy graph, which I'll see next turn. Alright, so diplomacy graph, yep, that's quite a nice spike. It's gonna really help me out on my goal to have diplomatic victory as a second choice. And here's my dust graph if you're curious. It goes downward during the winter because of the Roving Clan thing. Their trade routes are less effective then, but I've been working really hard on boosting them lately, so that's why it's been jumping up like that. And it's useful for science too, but a bit less so, because you don't get quite as much science from that. If you want to go that route though, get some Vultures heroes, because their heroes give a science boost to any trade routes in the city they're assigned to. Also for diplomatic victory, keep in mind that say I want to declare Cold War or war on the Mizari here. Since I'm peaceful with them, if I do any kind of negative interaction, like anything bellicose, like say declaring war, then it would cost more influence to do so. But if I warned them first, and with the Cold War first before declaring war, that option would be much, much cheaper. Same thing for if you want to be peaceful. If you give them compliments and ask to be peaceful before asking for an alliance later on, then those peaceful actions will be cheaper as well. Anyway, I hope you guys found that useful. Next up will be the playthrough itself.